I have come up with what I believe is the toughest possible draw for Jannik Sinner at Wimbledon 2026. So when I mean tough, I just don't mean rankings wise stuff, but genuinely tough in terms of player potential, player caliber, past achievements, and everything. Like, this is possibly, in my opinion, the hardest draw Jannik Sinner could get for Wimbledon 2026. So without further ado, let's cut to the chase right away. Alright, so first up, I've got Marin Cilic as Sinner's first round opponent. Obviously, Cilic is ranked 46 in the world now. He's 37 years old and past his prime, well past his prime. But after looking at so many players, I believe this is right up there as one of the toughest possible first round opponents any top player could get. Look, obviously, Cilic is a former finalist here, and he made the fourth round last year as well. He lost to Flavio Cobolli in a tight four-setter. But the point is, he has tons of experience in grass. He has so much experience in grass, and he's still playing at a pretty decent level. I think he made the third round of the Australian Open this year as well, losing to Casper Ruud. And Cilic is somebody who you just can't take lightly on grass, particularly because of his experience. I think last year he beat Jack Draper, if I'm not wrong, as well. So, all things considered, I think there are so many more players, so many other players, rather than Cilic, someone like Sinner would rather face in the first round. So my pick for Sinner's first round opponent is Marin Cilic. And I believe that if Sinner is having a day like he had against Cerundolo, for instance, where he's just suffering in the heat, or he's having some kind of discomfort, or he's having some kind of issue, then Cilic is genuinely someone who could cause serious trouble. So, yes, the first round opponent for Sinner in my draw is Marin Cilic. Okay, round 2 we got Germany's Jan-Lennard Struff. This could probably be a pick that surprises some people, but in my opinion, I think he's one of the most dangerous floaters going around. Like, he's the kind of guy that you simply don't want to face in the first 2 rounds of a slam ever, especially on natural surfaces. I mean, this guy has got the firepower to cause serious damage, and he could really blow away any player on his day. Although he's not done it too many times, but I genuinely believe that he has the potential to do so. So what has Struff done recently? He has made the third round of 2 consecutive Wimbledons, last year and the previous year. And last year he did take a set of Carlos Alcaraz. And the year before he took a set of Daniil Medvedev and lost to Medvedev. So if you look at the caliber of players he's been losing to some absolutely world-class players. And Struff, we know, is someone who's capable of going on a tear. He did reach the 4th round of Wimbledon last year, 4th round of US Open last year, I beg your pardon, where he lost to Novak Djokovic. But again, massive hitter, big server, massive forehand, massive backhand, pretty good volleyer. I mean, he just recently won the double title at Stuttgart, if I'm not wrong. He's just the kind of player who you want to avoid in the first 2 rounds, because you know that he can cause serious damage. I mean, he can cause serious damage, especially on his day. And I'll go back to the same point. If, let's say, some top player, say Sinner, is having a bad day, a really bad day, I believe Jan-Lennard Struff is kind of the guy who can put him away. Again, do I believe that it'll happen? Probably not. But do I believe that there's potential for that to happen? Definitely yes. I mean, again, you can get a lot more easier second round opponents than Jan-Lennard Struff, especially on grass, especially on natural surfaces. So my pick for Sinner's second round opponent in this particular draw is Germany's Jan-Lennard Struff. Alright, for the third round, I got Matteo Berrettini. Yep, Matteo Berrettini. If Matteo Berrettini is fit, and that's a big if, we still do not know if he's going to pull out of the tournament. We still do not know if he's going to be fit. But if he is fit, I think he's a pretty damn nightmare of an opponent for anybody to face, let alone Sinner. I mean, you look at Berrettini's achievements, you know, he's won so many grass titles. He's a Wimbledon finalist, for heaven's sake, in 2021. And like he showed at the French Open, he still has it in him. His forehand is still working. His serve is still lethal. And on grass, we have seen how effective his slice is. I mean, it is one of those surfaces where he can genuinely hide his weaker backhand and just cause serious damage to his opponents by deploying the slice. So Berrettini, my God, what a nightmare of an opponent to face in round three. See, right now, as it stands, he's not in the main draw. He's not accepted into the main draw, which means that he'll have to play qualies and get into the main draw. But he's the second alternate, so I think there's a almost a very very high chance, a 90% chance of him anyway making it to the main draw, because players will inevitably pull out, and when you're the second alternate, you'll make it into the main draw 9 out of 10 times. So yeah, I think there's a solid chance Berrettini makes it to the main draw, and I believe that if Berrettini were to reach the third round, I think he'll be right up there as one of the toughest third round opponents to face for Sinner. And if Berrettini plays to his best, he'll certainly be much tougher than the likes of Struff and Cilic. So yes, my pick for the third round opponent is Matteo Berrettini. Alright, fourth round, a pretty obvious pick compared to the first three picks, and I would say I'm gonna go with Alexander Bublik. Once again, is Alexander Bublik someone I will trust to beat Jannik Sinner? Absolutely not. Will Alexander Bublik ever be a favorite to beat Jannik Sinner even if Sinner is in a compromised state? Absolutely not. Because ultimately he's the kind of player I will not trust to get the job done, obviously because of how volatile and up and down he can be when in terms of his attitude, in terms of his level and everything. But you cannot deny his pedigree, though. I mean, he has won big titles on grass. He has beaten Sinner on grass previously as well. And you just feel that if Bublik is ever to beat Sinner or Alcaraz in a Grand Slam, it's gonna be at Wimbledon. I don't know about Alcaraz. Maybe I'll take that statement back. But if he's ever to beat Sinner on a particular surface in a Grand Slam, it's gotta be at Wimbledon, because it's Bublik's favorite surface by far, and he's beaten Sinner in 3 sets in the past, and he is he's the kind of player who has an insanely high ceiling. I mean, he is capable of doing pulling off the extraordinary. He is capable of doing some really really special things. So Alexander Bublik for sure is my pick for the fourth round compared to so many other players, especially if you're gonna choose between the likes of, I don't know, Felix de Minaur, whoever is between 9 and 16, Casper Ruud, again a pretty atrocious grass courter, compared to all these people, and compared to maybe some unseeded people, and even compared to the likes of Jakub Mensik or Fonseca and TN and all these guys, I'd still rank Bublik as a much bigger threat for the round of 16 than these guys. So my pick for the round of 16 is Alexander Bublik. Now here's where things get interesting, starting from the quarterfinal onwards. Like, it was pretty easy, to be honest, for me to list out these names, because I could genuinely say that, look, Cilic is probably one of the toughest first round opponents out there. Struff is probably one of the toughest second round opponents out there. And then I'm looking at the quarterfinal, semifinal and final, and I'm like, yeah, Djokovic is there. Obviously, Djokovic is probably the toughest person Sinner can face in the knockouts, no matter what the round is. But then who are the others? And I could only come up with 2 more names, Daniil Medvedev and Taylor Fritz. And I really can't see anyone else beating Sinner in the knockout stages. I mean, from the quarterfinal or semi-final and final. And by the way, I'm including Fritz because of his CV. I personally do not think that he can beat Sinner, but I don't think Fritz can beat Sinner in a Grand Slam yet. But I do feel that if you had to look at all the other guys, Zverev included, Fritz has probably the most notable CV on grass. Semi-finalist last year, played a fantastic match with Alcaraz, probably should have taken it to 5 sets, but he was unlucky. But compared to guys like Shelton, at least I'm definitely putting Fritz over Shelton, especially because I know that in the personal case of Sinner, at least, Shelton is just cannon fodder, and Sinner just beats him easily across surfaces. So I'm gonna put Fritz out there. Now the interesting part is which is the order in which I have to pick these guys. So if Djokovic, say, is ranked outside the top 4, there's a chance that Sinner can face Djokovic in the semi-final. Um, but wait, what was I saying again? Yeah, if Djokovic is seated outside the top 4, then there's a chance that Sinner can draw him in the quarterfinal, and that would by far be the worst quarterfinal Sinner can play. But the other side of it is that if Sinner can beat Djokovic in the quarterfinal, then I think he can beat anyone in the semi-final and final. It does not get progressively harder from there, because probably Medvedev is his toughest opponent left, and Fritz and Medvedev are both a step down on Djokovic. Maybe Medvedev is a step down on Djokovic, and Fritz is probably 2 steps down on Djokovic, considering everything, So in this, because I want to make it progressively harder, I'm gonna go Fritz quarterfinal, Medvedev semi-final, and Djokovic final. And again, like I said, if I were to put the toughest possible quarterfinal draw for Jannik Sinner, I would go definitely Djokovic. Granted, Djokovic is not seeded top 4. Then I would go, obviously, Medvedev is tougher than Fritz, so Medvedev is a tougher opponent he can draw in the quarterfinal compared to Fritz. But because I want to make this progressively harder, I want to go Fritz, Medvedev, and Djokovic. And honestly, I don't believe any of the other top guys, are capable of taking Sinner down in the semi-finals or finals, or even the quarterfinals for that matter. Yes, I have to see how someone like a Jakub Mensik will fare, because he has shown extraordinary skills with his hands. He seems like a very natural volleyer, and I'm really, really curious to see how he will go on this surface. But it might be just too soon for someone like him. So yes, this is the order I have. So I'm gonna end this video by just repeating what I believe will be the toughest possible draw for Jannik Sinner at Wimbledon. So here we go. Round 1, Marin Cilic. Round 2, Jan-Lennard Struff. Round 3, Matteo Berrettini. Round 4, Alexander Bublik. Quarterfinal, Taylor Fritz. Semi-final, Daniil Medvedev. And final, Novak Djokovic. You guys let me know what you think. Whether you agree with my picks, disagree with my picks, whether you have other options. I would love to discuss, because I do believe that there are a lot more options for the first few rounds than the latter stages, because you can easily throw in someone like Denis Shapovalov in the first or second round, because Shapo will be unseeded because he's ranked outside the top 35 right now, I guess. Then you have someone like Empeshi Pericard, obviously. Jack Draper will also be unseeded if he enters Wimbledon. So there are so many guys who can potentially trouble Sinner in the first week, or not just Sinner, or any top player for that matter. So you guys let me know what you think of my draw, and whether you will pick somebody else to replace my picks. I would be really interested in engaging in a conversation. And yeah, this is my first ever long form video, so please show some love if possible. Please subscribe if possible. I am trying to make interesting and entertaining and informative tennis content, different tennis content. You could check out the shorts section in my profile. I have already made some 9 to 10 videos, which I post on Instagram as well. My YouTube is Anirudh's Tennis Takes, but on Instagram I'm Anirudh Talks Tennis. And I have been a tennis fan of 20 plus years who has finally started to make content, and yes, I am a sports journalist as well, and I have covered tennis recently as well, and I will come to that later. But for the time being, please subscribe to me if possible.